So hello everyone. In today's video, I will be going to discuss some in-depth concept behind the JavaScript and how JavaScript works. So first of all, now what do you mean by the data type? So a data type tells you what kind of data is being stored in a variable. Suppose you are declaring some variable and initializing some value into it. So what kind of value it is storing, it tells it tells because of the data type. For example, suppose we have a variable a which stores the 10, which is a number, so their data type is also a number. Now there is another variable whose name is variable, and this variable stores the name of a person. So a name of a person or any kind of string is a data type of a string. And the third one is the array. Now what is array? So a array is used to store the multiple values in particular time, and these values stored in a continuous manner, and these all values have same data type. So this is all about the array. Now first of all, see what types of data type we have. We have two types of data type. First of all, the first one is the primitive data type, and the second one is the non-primitive data type. So in primitive data type, primitive means predefined data type, and non-primitive means the user defined data type which we made for our ease of work. So the primitive data types are number, string, boolean, null, or undefined. Number we saw already in the first example. A variable a stores 10, which is a number, so their data type of a is also a number. Okay. Now string is also in the second example. It stores ram, variable stores ram, and this variable is a string. Now what is boolean? So a boolean only knows true or false. Okay, so true represented as 1 or false represented as 0 in case of boolean data type. Now what is the difference between the null and the undefined? So first of all, see the basic difference between null and undefined. So in this picture, I will be going to distinguish between the 0, null and undefined. You can clearly see that there is a toilet paper holder, and this holder have a toilet paper bundle in which we have 0 toilet paper left to use. Okay, so their value is 0. Now suppose I don't have toilet paper bundle, but I have the handle. So there is a null toilet paper. Suppose I do not have a handle or toilet paper bundle, so it is the undefined. Now if I replace the toilet paper handle with the variable and the bundle with the value. So in first example, if a variable equals to 0, it means variable a stores the 0 value. Now if I say that a is equals to null, so we have the block which is reserved for the variable a, but currently it stores nothing, or we can say null. Now suppose I have a variable a, but I did not initialize any value into it, so there is no space for storing the value. So currently it is undefined. Undefined means we did not define what is the value of a, just only we declared the variable in case of undefined. Now coming to the previous slide again, actually we forgot to tell you about the non-primitive data type. So now non-primitive data type are array, object and function. Array we already saw in the third example. It is used for storing the multiple values at a time in a continuous manner and having the same data type. These all are the number data type. Okay, so instead of storing each value by creating a new variable, we store all the values in the same variable name array. Now to access the number one, we write like that array of 0. So indexing of array start from 0 till n minus 1. Okay, now what is an object? Everyone around us is the object. Yes, it is the object. For example, mm, your bike. Suppose you have a bike. So bike have some feature, bike have some color, different different color आते हैं ना बाइक में, और बाइक have some function which handles the acceleration to increase the acceleration of the bike. So these all are the properties of the bike. So if some entity having some property, so it is known as the object, है ना. Now object is clear. Suppose I have a house. So in house I have one bedroom, one toilet, one kitchen. So these all are the property of the house. So this house is an object. Now coming to the third non-primitive data type, which is the function. So what is a function? Function is the snippet, or we can say that the a function is a piece of code which executed at the time we call the function by their name. Okay, so this piece of code, which is a function present in the code, but till it is not executed until and unless we call the function by their name. Okay, now this is already we have discussed. Now coming to the next slide, there is a difference between the non primitive and the non-primitive. Now we have earlier discussed that primitive is the predefined and non-primitive is the user defined. So user defined data types are used for the uh, for ease the work of a user. Okay, and primitive are the default data types that are present. Okay, so now coming to the second point. So the primitive is the call by value, but a non-primitive is the call by reference. Now what does it actually mean? So we will see through coding the call by value and the call by reference. So now before coding, I will be going to show you the brief of call by value and call by reference. So here it is. Suppose we have two variable a and variable b. Okay, now suppose variable a stores the value 5 and variable b stores the value a. So we are using the variable as a value, so we call the value here and use for initializing the value of b. Okay, so now a is also storing the 5 and b is also storing the 5. You can also see that a and b both store 5. Now suppose I change the value of b as a plus 5. So what will be the answer? So now a stores still 5 and b stores the 10. So now what you will conclude by showing this result? So we can say that A and B both are independent from each other, because by changing the value of B as A plus 5, A is still 5, means A is not changing. So this B and this A are independent from each other, and this independency is also known as the immutable nature. So, and now tell me, what is the data type of A variable? A stores the 5 number. So the data type of variable A is number. Now tell me, what is the data type of B? B is also a number, because B stores the value of A, and value of A is 5. So A and B both are number data type. So number data type comes under the primitive, and primitive generally are immutable in nature. Okay, and this is the call by value example. Now coming to the non-primitive data type. So let's see. For example, I have one array 1, which stores three value 1, 2, and 3. Now suppose I have the array 2, and in array 2, similarly in this way, I will store the value of array 1. So this array 2 also stores 1, 2, and 3. है ना? This array 2 is also store 1, 2, and 3, just like similar to the first array. Now if I change the value of second array, means what I am changing is that I am inserting one new value, which is 4. I push the value 4 in array 2, so this 4 comes here, है ना? What this push will do, generally push the number which is present inside the parenthesis to the end of the array. And if I use unshift, so unshift will put the value in front of the array. Okay, so now you can clearly see that I have used push, so this 4 is pushed into the array 2 at the end. Okay, so here is the 4. So now currently array 2 is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now you tell me, what will be the value of array 1 now? So if someone is thinking that array 1 will still look like a 1, 2, 3, so it is wrong, because now array 1 is also represented as 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now one question comes in your mind that why array 1 and array 2 stores the same value, because I have only changed the second array value, why it is still reflecting in the first array? So this is because it is the call by reference, and call by reference means sharing the same location. So whenever we are dealing with the non-primitive data type, so in non-primitive data type, the array 1 and array 2 both shares the same location in the memory. So if both sharing the same location, or through any of the above, for example array 1 or array 2, if I change some value inside the array, so the changes reflect in both the array, because they share the same location, and at the same location we have the array. Okay, so this is all about the call by value and call by reference. Now let's jump into the another topic, which is also very important whenever you are learning JavaScript. So it is the scope. Now what do you mean by scope? So if someone play a PUBG game, so he already know what is the use of a scope. So scope generally used to see that where is my variable, like in block scope or in local scope or in global scope. So uh, most of the developer knows the global scope and the block scope, but sometimes they feel sometimes they do not uh, get to know the real difference between the block and local scope, because they think that both are similar. Block scope and local scope both are similar. So now currently we will be going to see the difference between the three. Okay, now first one is the block scope. So block scope generally, we see if something inside variable is inside the parenthesis curly bracket, so this will be known as the block scope. So suppose in this example I have declared one variable a and initialized it by 2. So this a variable is in a block scope because it is accessible inside this parenthesis, inside this curly bracket only. This a variable is accessible inside this curly bracket, and outside the curly bracket we do not know what is the a, है ना. So this is the block scope. Now coming to the local scope. Local scope means we declare something locally. So suppose I have one function which is my function. So inside this function, if I declare one uh, variable name is name only, and it stores this Shinchan. Now this name variable is accessible inside this function. So if I write something some more code inside this function, or if I write the nested function inside this function, so this nested functions uh, also can access the name variable, है ना, because the name variable is inside the function scope, or we can say that local scope. So now coming to the third scope, which is the global scope. So what do you mean by global? Global means universal. It means that each and everyone can have the access to that particular variable, because this variable is declared as a global scope. Suppose outside I write like that, let name equal to Sinchan. So this name variable is accessible throughout the code, means this function also can access the name variable, and outside the function also we can access the name variable, or this is the global scope. Now that's all for the today. If you find someone helpful in this video, so please like and share. Okay, thank you.